Yes guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm joined by this very handsome man, Mr. Ed Rimmel. So he's just completed his pre-prep diet, literally in the space of like the last couple of days. Cause I saw him in Rotherham and he was leaner than I thought, so I was like, yeah, pre-prep's done. So he's completed his pre-prep. He trained with me on Monday, trained yesterday separately, and then training today together again. Legs at Reso Gym. Reso 24 it's called, or Reso Fitness. Basically, it's a gym in Scunthorpe because I'm living at my dad's at the minute whilst I am in the process of getting my house. So we'll just crack on. My left leg's a bit, it's annoying me. So I will basically just be putting Ed through a session and doing what I can and staying really positive about it, because that's what you got to do, guys, when you've got injuries. Stay positive, okay? You got anything to add, mate?
Nothing to add.
You want to add about the pre-prep? Or should we wait till the end of the video? Wait till the end of the video to hear all about his pre-prep diet.
We'll wait until the end of the video.
Let's go.
There we are.
Otherwise, we'll have a 10-minute
Yeah.
10-minute intro. All right, guys, so first up, calves and abs. Get them done while you're fresh. Very easy to neglect them. Calves, for me and for a lot of people, will be a weakness. And yeah, as much as you might not get judged on them, like not excessively anyway, it's still nice to have like some development there. I wouldn't know, so that's why I do them at the start while I'm fresher, while I can generate a lot of force. And then abs, generally, again, like at the end of a leg session, are you going to want to train abs? Are you going to want to train them effectively? Probably not. Most of the time at the end of a leg session, you're going to feel pretty sick. So then trying to do something like that is going to be even more disgusting. So do them at the start, get them done, get them out of the way. Or even if you're somebody who, let's say, has a little bit less time, do your calves and abs on a rest day. Yeah, if you're going and doing cardio or posing, I have quite a lot of clients who just prefer to do calves and abs when they go in and do their cardio. So you could easily do that instead. Right, so on calves, I'm doing LPs, because I love LPs, so length and partials. Basically, again, like with a lot of recent research, it's been shown that sort of working through more so of that length and range is going to be a little bit more beneficial for hypertrophy, specifically on calves. So as well as that, like for me, I've found that I do actually connect better with them when I do this. So when I'm not trying to get an intense contraction, so if we imagine this, so I'm going to be in what's called dorsiflexion, so deep dorsiflexion, stretch my calves as much as I can, and I'm not coming up to as much plantar flexion as I can. I'm almost coming up to about 60% of the rep. Still get a good contraction, but I'm almost keeping the focus through that length and range where I'm getting more of a stretch. Generally can load it a little bit heavier as well, and like I say, I actually get a better connection, and calves are always an area I've struggled to connect with. And then when it comes to abs, generally this is my favorite ab movement. I don't think you can really beat it if you perform it correctly. This is probably the exercise that people butcher the most, and they just move back and forth through their hips and train their hip flexors instead of actually working through spinal flexion. So you want to be thinking at the bottom of the rep about like as much spinal extension as you can. So you should actually feel like an intense stretch. It should hurt your abs at the top of the rep. You're in what's called an anterior pelvic tilt. So you're pushing your bum out, you're lifting your chest up, stretching your abs as much as you can. And then you're thinking to do the opposite and literally just flex down and curl your ribs down towards your hips and exhale, breathe out as you do that. If you're not feeling this through your abs, you're probably just working through, like I say, that hip flexion and training your hip flexors instead of your abs. Good, again. Ooh. Come on in. There you go. Nice. Good man. Feels good, doesn't it, that, to be fair? That was, yeah. They were both, well, that second set especially felt great. Nice. Felt better. Yeah. So 2 sets on here. I'm doing this as a dead stop just because I've got a little bit of pain in the back of my right knee. So if I'm not careful with the change of direction, the load just shifts straight to my knee instead of onto my hamstrings. So I think it's to do with my left side being the injured side, so my right side's having to do more work. on everything. So my right knee's taking it a bit more. So dead stop at the bottom of each rep. Another thing on this that I think a lot of people do is they hug the seat and they like go into spinal flexion, and that's going to put you in a maybe in a more stable position through what feels like your core, but it's going to put you in a less advantageous position to pull on the hamstrings. You want to have a little bit of spinal extension, like your erectors should be contracted throughout this movement, because that's going to help pull on the hamstrings. You don't need to be rounding your back, yeah? You don't need to be hugging the seat. Keep your chest up, slight spinal extension. You should feel your lower back working. And that's going to help stabilize your pelvis. It's going to help pull on the hamstrings so you can generate more force. Yeah, good. Breathe. Compose. Go again.
Yeah, you. Oh, good. With me. Strong. Ow! Yes. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Ow! You let out an interesting noise on, I think that was like the penultimate rep. It was like,
yeah, I ejaculated.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's how good it felt.
I ejaculated in my pants. Ejaculated, guys.
Make that a reel.
Every time I say ejaculate, will you bleep it out, mate? Because I don't think people want to hear that word. Could be worse. Could have said like some vulgar words for ejaculation.
There is, yeah.
Quite a few. Like splooged. Just cut all these out.
What informative content? You. Ow! And again, come on then. Strong here. Yes, you. Finish it. Get there. Good. Now with me, come on. Big drive. Ow!
Oh, fucking hell.
That was exactly my reaction.
So 2 sets on the leg extension. First set, cam 1. Second set, cam 5, which is like mid to lengthened. Ultimately, like I'm doing this as like a pre-exhaust to get my knees and my quads nice and warm before going on to the pendulum. Just because again, with my left quad injury, whatever it is, when I went and got the MRI done, it just said chronic injury, which I already know. But getting it warm is my plan to hopefully sort of use a bit less load on the compounds and it feel a bit safer on my joints and on the quad. Good. Yes, good. Come on, find that rhythm. Let's go. Good. Come on. Good. Come on, go again. Let's go. I'm there. Come on, quads. Let's go. Good. Go again. Come on, brace hard. Good. 1. Fucking hell. Didn't give you much on that. You could have probably got. We could have bullshitted another there.
Yeah,
But probably smart to leave.
I was wondering whether to take another one. Come on, let's fucking go, come on.
Come on then. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Good. Yep. Good. Let's go. Big drive here. Yep. Good. Come on. Yep.
Not bad. A lot of knee pain on that left side.
Yeah.
So, pendulum done. Obviously did the leg extension, like I said, almost as like a warm up for the pendulum. Get the knees nice and warm. And then on the pendulum, because the pendulum's on an arc, the profile is basically light, heavy, light. Because the midpoint is basically where the moment arm is the greatest. So it's hardest in the mid, which is fine and actually quite a good thing if you've got knee pain. So choosing movements that don't overly load the lengthened range are quite a good idea. So things like arched leg presses, hip presses, squat presses, pendulums. If you've got knee pain, probably better options than linear leg presses or hack squats. So 2 sets on there. First set, heavier set, still with a slight pause when changing direction just to try and reduce that pain. Second set with a longer pause at the bottom. I quite like doing integrated partials on these as well, or again, any arched leg press, hip press, because anything that's not overly challenging at the bottom, spending more time there is a good idea. For example, Nautilus presses. They're so easy in the lengthened range, so why not spend a bit more time there? You can actually fail through more of a full sort of contractile range by not bouncing out the bottom of those kind of movements. Whereas, not saying you should bounce out of any movement, but if a movement's heavier in the lengthened, you don't need to spend as much time there because it's already more challenging there. For example, the strive, loading it more in the lengthened range. A minor pause, fine, but you don't need to excessively spend time there, whereas it can feel quite good and make sense on movements that aren't as heavily loaded in that lengthened portion. I'll let you give it a feel with those.
So why are we using these pads, Mr. Finn Kelly?
We're using these pads to basically increase the range of motion. So we can't basically move the stopper any lower down. So putting some pads or something behind your back is going to allow for a greater range of motion without you hitting the safety pin at the bottom. That's why, Ed.
There we are. The more you know, kids. Yep. Come on then. Let's go. Strong. Yeah, easy. Flying. Yeah, lovely. Come on then, keep it going. Yes, yes. Come on then. Let's go, come on. Yep. Yeah, easy, easy, come on. And again. Yeah. You. Good. Let's fucking go, come on. Come on then. Make it count. Mate, I get a wicked head rush after that.
So you gotta like sit and breathe, haven't you?
Yeah.
Last week, trained at Premier. It was my first session back after the holiday. Mate, I've never felt like it. Like, I literally was stood with my head out the window half an hour.
Yeah.
Like, trying not to throw up. I've never felt it during legs.
Really?
Like, you know when people are like, oh, I was sick during legs, I think,
Shut up, mate.
like, yeah, like, why are you being sick during legs? You've obviously, like, you're searching for it. But like, I literally did, what did I do? I did a belt squat. I didn't even do leg press because I did 2 really good sets on the belt squat. I did 1 set of split squat. That's when my adductor went a bit, so it might have been the pain from that, but it wasn't like painful.
Yeah.
But honestly, mate, I was like about fucking like a whitey, and I felt awful.
Yeah.
I don't know what it feels like.
Fuck no.
I imagine it feels like that.
Have you ever left a set and you've gone deaf in one ear? I get that sometimes.
A lot of the time, yeah.
Like,
Or both, and it's just like, you can barely hear anything.
Yeah.
Not when you're doing that weight, though.
No.
When you're doing that weight, you fucking might as well not be training. So 1 set on this. So you'll hopefully see from the video, super low stance. Reason behind that is that I'm trying to create as much knee flexion as possible. So basically, I'm trying to drive my knees over my toes, create the largest distance between my knee and my ankle, traveling forwards, trying to get my heels as close to my hips as possible to get as much out of my quads as I can. So the more knee flexion that you're going to get, the more torque, which is the rotational force at the joint, the more torque there's going to be at the knee. If there's more torque at a joint, the extensor of that joint is going to have to work harder. So the knee extensors are the quads. So if I get my knee way over my toe, my quads are going to have to work harder to extend that knee. Press the leg press. So yes, the load is less than I could do. I've done 16 plates per side on this leg press before. 16, 20 plates. Now that's not impressive, that's just me being a fucking idiot. So I had my feet probably up there and I'd literally come down a quarter of the way. I'm getting so much more out of this now, and that was years ago, with my feet really low and getting my knees over my toes. Now, there's nothing wrong with hip flexion. It's not as if like, oh, if you have any hip flexion, you know, you're gonna hurt yourself or anything like that. That's not the case. But I'm trying to bias my quads. A leg press is generally a very good quad bias movement. You can make it a bit more glute, a bit more adductor based on your stance. But if I'm trying to get quad out of it, I want a low stance to get my knees over my toes. And again, like I said, with reducing sort of total load on your joints, going lighter on this is gonna make it a bit safer and a bit easier on my knees. Oh, my quads feel fucked after it.
Okay. Yeah. Reason for the wedge, just to keep pressure on the heel?
Well, to like almost press through the whole foot. So like it makes it easier for me to press through my big toe, the ball of my foot and the heel all at the same time.
Okay.
And I feel like I don't have to worry about the friction going through, if it's not going to slide on this, but if your foot's completely flat, I feel like there's friction going sort of traveling forward, and then that flares my quad up. Whereas with that, there's no real friction about me trying to grip the floor. I just press against that. Let's go. Yeah.
Come on, then.
It's all right, I'll rack it at the bottom. Right guys, so that is a wrap on the leg session. So really good session, to be fair. Obviously, like first time that Ed's been here. For me, it's just kind of working around pain, but it was still actually a really good session. So keep your eyes peeled for the reels that are going to come out about managing joint pain. But yeah, in terms of where Ed's at, obviously we've just gone through some posing, so just finished pre-prep diet. Basically now we've got like probably a 4 to 5 month push-up. We don't want to be too heavy for the start point of prep. Like, he's pulled down to a really good spot now. We realistically don't want to be gaining much more than a few kilos over the next 3, 4, 5 months maximum, so that we've got enough time to pull off the body fat needed without having to lose at an excessive rate of loss, to make sure that we're in the best position to preserve as much tissue as possible, keep performance in a good spot. So feel free, mate, give us a bit of a rundown as to how the diet's been, how you found it.
Yeah, I mean, the diet was very smooth sailing. Obviously, I've never really dieted before, essentially. Always being a skinny kid, I've kind of always just been eating food. So this was my first real phase of pushing a diet. I kind of went into it expecting it to be really hard, but it was smooth sailing. Dropped 16 kilo over 13 weeks. And there was no real troubles. You get the occasional day or occasional couple hours where you feel a bit hungry, but it's nothing that you can't manage. But yeah, training's been good throughout the whole phase. Maintained or progressed throughout the whole diet on majority of lifts. So happy in that sense. Happy with how I'm looking as well. We know that there's a couple areas we need to bring up, which we're obviously going to focus on over the next 4 or 5 months before prep starts. But I'm just looking forward to prep, really. Optimistic and excited.
So that rate of loss, obviously, he's just said there, 16 kilos in about 13 weeks. Now, that is an excessive rate of loss, really, if it was a contest prep, but it's not. It's a pre-prep diet. If you see his composition now, you'll have seen on the video, we'll put some photos up, he's still in a very good composition. Like, he's not in an unhealthy kind of fat rate of loss to fat percentage. Like, it wants to be slower the leaner that you get, to preserve your performance, to preserve your tissue. So that's pretty aggressive, that rate of loss. Like, over a kilo a week on average every single week, which is over 1% every week. When the prep comes around, we want it to be 1% or less, really, with refeeds, high days, diet breaks along the way. Ed's had high days in towards the end of the prep for the past, month? Yeah, high day once a week for the past month, and generally sort of just maintained from it, not really gained much, just like a bit of a top up, not an actual enough of a high day to really go into much of a surplus, but enough to top him up, aid performance, increase fullness, and just look better, feel better. So it's actually been really, really good. And again, like every season, I just learn more and more about my clients, my own coaching, my approaches. Like, ultimately, how this season's gone with some clients, I can take some positives. With some clients, I can take some sort of take-home sort of negatives that go, that could have been managed better, that could have been managed better. And it's only going to make me better. Like, I'm not going to be making those same kind of mistakes that maybe have been made in the past based on lessons that you learn as you go. And that's what you've got to do in all aspects of life, whether it's in coaching, in business, whatever it may be. You learn from mistakes, and there's some things this year that I could have thought, right, that could have been managed better. How could I have done this better? And that's what I'm taking forward into clients' preps for this year and my future preps and future clients' preps. And I guarantee in 5-10 years from now, I'll be looking back at this season thinking that could have been managed better. And that's kind of how it's going to always be, is that you're always evolving. There's always new research coming out. There's always new methods. And that's how you've got to be as a coach, or in anything in life. You've got to be adaptive to the times and what's changing. And for example, if you were to say a year, 2, 3, 4 years ago, if you were to say to somebody 5 years ago, this person's prep is 30 weeks, they'd be like, what the fuck? Yeah. That's way too many. But your prep might be 30 weeks, but 20 of them might be actually focused on fat loss, and 10 of them might be diet breaks and peaks. You can do peak weeks for 2 weeks, a maintenance into a peak, a 2-week diet break along the way, another 2-week diet break, and before you know it, it's been 30 weeks, but you've actually preserved all your tissue, all your performance, and it's been more enjoyable, less stressful. Your hormonally, obviously it's not amazing, but it's better than it would be if it was a 12-week, throw the kitchen sink at it, oh fuck, you're still fat, and then not get the results that you want and resent bodybuilding. Exactly. So that's the plan. Yeah, keep food higher, keep expenditure lower, start with more time, start leaner. Things that you've got to learn. If you're ready a bit earlier, feed up more, like all these kind of things. So that's the plan. But yeah, we'll leave the video there. Thank you as always for watching. Make sure you follow Ed as well. He does YouTube as well. Is your name just Ed Rimmel on YouTube?
Just Ed Rimmel.
Just Ed Rimmel.
Simple as that.
Rimmel as in rimming, like
Rimmel as in like rim hole.
rim hole.
Yeah, that's it.
That's how it's spelt, yeah? Yeah, Rimmel as in rim hole. Make sure you follow Ed on Instagram as well. And yeah, appreciate everybody watching.
At Ed Rimmel Fit.
At Ed Rimmel Fit.
There you are.
And we'll catch you in the next video. Cool.